In this presentation, I'm going to talk about nouns and the different jobs that they have in a sentence. Much like people, nouns can do different things. Think of all the roles that you fulfill. Even though you're one person, you're also a son and daughter, student, basketball player, ballet dancer, brother, sister, and on and on. So nouns don't just have to do one thing. Here are the 6 basic jobs they provide. The main one is the subject of the sentence. The subject will always be a noun. They can also be direct objects, indirect objects, object of the preposition, a predicate noun, or an appositive. And we'll go through each of these. The noun as a subject, as I said before, is the main function. It's who or what the sentence is about. It's what's doing the action. In my examples, the boy is doing his homework. So you ask yourself, who is doing the homework? And the answer is the boy, so he's the subject and a noun. Mrs. Smith is my mother's best friend. Who is the best friend? Mrs. Smith is. Now on to nouns as direct objects. On the opposite side of the action, we have who is receiving that action, and we call that the direct object. To find the direct object, you want to ask yourself with the verb what. For example, if the verb was hit, you would want to know hit what. Whatever answers that question is the direct object because it's receiving the action of the hitting. In this case, you need to have an action verb. So it only has a direct object when there is action. And not all sentences have action verbs. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Here are some examples of direct objects. John wrote a letter to Mary. Wrote is the verb, so you ask yourself, what did he write? Letter. So letter becomes a direct object. Pick up the pen. This is a command, and the subject is actually an understood you. So you pick up the pen. Pick is the verb. What do I want you to pick up? The pen. So it's the direct object receiving the action of pick. Now on to nouns as an indirect object. You won't always have an indirect object, but you should always look for one with an action verb. When nouns are the indirect object, they are the thing that the verb is being done to or for. In this case, to find the indirect object, you would ask yourself, to whom or for whom is the action being done for? For example, if the verb was wrote and the direct object was poem, as in he wrote a poem, you would ask yourself, to whom or for whom was the poem written? The answer to that then would be your indirect object. He wrote Mary a poem. In that case, Mary is the indirect object. Poem would still be the direct object because it's receiving the action of writing. Once again, you will not have an indirect object unless you have an action verb. Here are some examples. Harold sent me a letter. Harold, what did he send? He sent a letter. Letter is the direct object. To whom or for him, whom is the letter being sent to? Me. So me is the indirect object. Sarah will give the class a treat. In this case, the verb is will give. The answer to that is treat. So treat is your direct object. To whom or for whom is the treat being given? The class. Therefore, class is the indirect object. Nouns can also be the object of the preposition or the prepositional phrase. A prepositional phrase will always have the following pattern. The preposition, and I have a bunch of them listed below, plus any adjectives or articles. Articles are like a, an, and then the noun. So it will always follow that pattern. And the subject can never be in a prepositional phrase. Nouns are the object of the preposition when they complete a prepositional phrase. Here are some common ones like above, under, beside, on, during, until. There are other ones like to and of, in. The list goes on and on. Here are some examples of prepositional phrases and how the noun is the object of that prepositional phrase. In the sentence, Samuel is waiting near the door. Samuel is your subject, is waiting is your verb. In this case, there is no direct object. There is simply a prepositional phrase, near the door. Near is the preposition, and door is the object of that preposition. The in the middle is simply an article. Beside the shelf, you will find your book. The subject of that sentence is you will find, And in this case, we do have a direct object, book. Book is receiving the action of finding. The prepositional phrase, however, is beside the shelf. In this case, beside is the preposition and shelf is the object. Let's practice with these 4 nouns. In the first sentence, Chase went to the concert yesterday. Chase is serving as the subject of that sentence because he is who or what is doing the action of going to the concert. Sign my yearbook. The subject in that sentence is an understood you. You sign my yearbook. Sign is a verb, and it's an action verb because you can actually see somebody signing. So yearbook is receiving the action. My is simply an adjective describing what yearbook. Your purse is under your desk. Purse is the subject. Is the verb. Under your desk is a prepositional phrase. So in this case, desk is serving as the object of a preposition. Give Andrew the pencil. Once again, we have an understood you because it's a command. So you give, what do you give? Pencil is a direct object. To whom or for whom? Andrew. So Andrew is an indirect object. Now moving on to nouns as a predicate noun. These sentences will have a linking verb such as is, are, was, were, but they can also be different ones like what I have listed down below. They do not have action. They describe the subject or restate the subject. They are called linking verbs because they link the noun of the sentence to additional information in the sentence. Other ones that might be tricky are the be forms, such as become, seem, look, appear, grow, turn, taste, feel, smell, and sound. Now those might sound like action verbs, but they're also actually considered linking verbs. So when you have those, you want to be looking for a predicate noun or a predicate adjective, which we'll discuss when we get to adjectives. Now here are some examples. John is the subject, is the verb, John is my friend. Is linking John and friend. The subject is John and the predicate noun is friend. Thus, John and friend are interchangeable. You could say, John is my friend is John. When the sentence can be turned around like that, you know you have 2 equal nouns. We call that noun at the end, though, the predicate noun because it comes after the predicate or the verb. The second sentence is the party is a baby shower. Party is the subject, is the verb linking party to shower. Baby is simply an adjective describing what type of shower because it could be a wedding shower. Thus, party and shower are interchangeable. The party is a baby shower. A baby shower is the party. You could switch the sentence around. Party and shower are equal in this sentence. And that's how you know you have a predicate noun. Once again, you have to have a linking verb to be looking for predicate nouns, just like you have to have an action verb to be looking for direct and indirect objects. Now, one of my favorites, and a positive. And a positive is a noun phrase that restates a noun. It's kind of like an epithet that we have with our literary terms. Here's a quick example. Mrs. Cody, a teacher, works at Norris. I section off the appositive because it's not necessary information. I could simply say Mrs. Cody works at Norris, and it would be a complete sentence, with Mrs. Cody being the subject, works being the verb, and at Norris being a prepositional phrase. At being the preposition, and Norris the noun or object of that preposition. In this sentence, teacher is the appositive because it is a noun restating Mrs. Cody. Now let's practice with the last 2 noun jobs. In the following 2 sentences, I have highlighted nouns. The first sentence is Tara smelled like flowers because of her new perfume. So Tara is the subject. The verb is smelled. And if you remember, smelled is a linking verb. So it's not an action verb. So then you know you're looking for a predicate noun or predicate adjective. She smelled like flowers. So flowers in this case is a predicate noun, right? Tara smelled like flowers. Tara is essentially equal to a flower, okay? The second one is much like the last sentence I had in the examples. My dog, Ginger, is very smart.